I think one of the biggest contributors to neurodivergent burnout is you constantly making space to understand other people and then barely anybody taking the time to understand you. And the more identities you have alongside the neurodivergence, the worse it gets. It just gets to a point where you feel like you're explaining yourself in depth with every tiny little thing because people just don't understand you so much. I think that's why, like, in different periods of my life, I just stopped talking. I'm not gonna say going nonverbal because I was still talking, but like, my responses were like one word answers. And when that happens, people just take that and they use it as justification for why they didn't try to get to know you in the first place. And it's like we're not even trying to explain ourselves to just fit in most of the time. It's also to just fucking survive. Like when you're trying to explain your symptoms to a doctor, when you go to therapy and your therapist is stumped and doesn't know what to do with you. That has happened to me with 8 out of my 9 therapists. And then when I got the master's degree from University of Chicago, and I would bring that up because, they asked, tone switched. There was like this jealousy that fills the room. That's why I don't go anymore. It's just like this constant you explaining, and then they get mad that you're oversharing when you're just trying to explain something. And I feel like being online obviously has exasperated that. It's just like you try to add nuance to a conversation and people don't care to understand nuance anymore because everyone's fucking tired. People who you really look up to attack you, misunderstanding you. This just happens over and over again. I think that's why, like, even though I've come out of the burnout, there's just this like blah feeling. And like when your brain feels like there's no escape from like this situation or your reality, like it's gonna want to itself. It's just a lot coming to terms with like the fact that this is how it's mostly gonna be, more or less, especially as we spiral towards like a terrible mental health crisis. Medical field starts to get taken over by technology. It's not a conspiracy. It's actually fucking happening. It's just like, what do you do with that? They say build community. But how do you build community when people don't even understand you, no matter how hard you try? But you seem to understand everybody else around you perfectly, to the point where you know their next steps. I don't have the answers, y'all, but this is just something I wanted to talk about.